Hey guys, Matt at Voeltner Woodworking. Thanks for watching. What we're going to do today is build a simple spice rack. You can do it with a few simple tools, table saw or circular saw. Could even use a jigsaw. A box of poplar. You'll see this in the video in a little bit. Pick this up at the big box store. You could use any type of wood that you want, really. This particular wood has a nice rustic look to it, and that's what I was going for this build. A 23 gauge pin nailer. You could also use small nails if you wanted. That would also give it a bit of a rustic flair. So if you want to do that, then awesome. A torch, because who doesn't like fire? Obviously glue if you want it to hold together. For this, I used provincial colored Minwax because it matched the spice rack perfectly. Well, and it's actually the only one that I had on hand. Some blue tape, some clamps, a square to make sure that everything fits well. The basics. So like I said, this is going to be a super simple build. If you want to do laser engraving or use your CNC to spice it up, see what I did there? So stay tuned toward the end of the video. I'll show you the laser engraving process and I'll show you some fun shots. T-Dons provided me dimensions for their point of service rack, so I was able to work off those drawings. And I was just making sure that things were going to scale out appropriately for the project. As I mentioned in the intro, I picked up this lumber from a big box store. It comes in a variety pack of 8 to 10 boards and different varieties of different colors, and it is poplar, and it's kind of rough on the outside and it's real rustic looking. I laid out the pieces here for the point of service. I'm only doing a rack for the smaller bottles, so I was able to use just one single dimension, and that happened to be 2.5 inches. So each upper and lower rack will be 2.5 inches in depth and in height. Here's where I got a little bit cross-eyed with the project. I ended up making 2 racks in full disclosure, one at 12 inches wide and one at 10 inches wide. The original drawings called for 10 inches. And so you'll see me a couple times with different backing pieces throughout this video, but I did end up making 2 different racks to test out the 2 different sizes for each point of service rack. So here I am doing a little bit of a shell game, trying to work out the dimensions. I should have just stuck with the 10-inch dimensions. It would have worked perfectly, as you'll see in the end. To get a little bit of height out of each of the boxes, I wanted to raise the T-Dons logo up above that 2.5-inch mark. So I cut these rulers down, and they'll make an appearance a little bit later as well. But that gave me the perfect dimension to make the T-Dons label stand out above the top rail. Here's the process of cutting down the 10-inch rack. The previous one was the 12-inch rack. So I'm speeding this up just to save a little bit of time here with this video. And I went ahead and assembled this the same way I did the other one. I put that spacer in there, I raised up that bottom piece, and let the T-Dons logo show. So back to the 12-inch rack, what you see is I'm putting some blue tape to hold the pieces down. That way I can get the proper spacing for each of the racks. And then I put some pin nails in the back to hold it all together. And for the upper rack, I'm using those rulers that I cut out earlier. Just happen to be the perfect dimension for me to space out the upper rack from the lower rack. Okay, and then here we go into the lasering portion. What I did is I lasered and then found out that the poplar was a little bit too light underneath and that I didn't like it. So I wanted to go ahead and run a piece with some aura mask on it and then do an infill with some paint. So here's the paint with the acrylic paint inside. It just really popped out exactly like I wanted it to. It matched the drawings that T-Dons provided and gave it that extra flair. Then after the test piece was done, I went ahead and started engraving the lower portion. Again with the aura mask on there. There you see the lighter color of the poplar showing through. that will eventually go back and infill with some acrylic paint. And this is the part that you've been waiting for, paint. This is my therapy. There's just something about doing that infill and then just wondering what it's going to look like when you pull that ore mask away. I hope you'll stick with me through the end of the video where you can see some really gorgeous shots of the rack all put together. I did a little bit of a teaser in the beginning of the video, but I encourage you to stick around. As you can see, this was a really simple build. It really is just a bunch of straight cuts, some butt joints, making sure that you space things out, and it could be fit for purpose if you've got mason jars that you want to use or other spices, different dimensions. Just make your project fun, make it something that's gonna work for you, gonna be functional for your house. Oh, wait for this. Hold on, wait for it. Wait for it. And now the beauty shots. If you want, they didn't ask me to do this, but I'm going to put a link to T-Don's website so you can pick up some of this spice. It is by far one of the best Cajun spices that I've used. It doesn't have any salt added. It's delicious. It's a little bit spicy on the spicy side. So, I mean, if you're eating Cajun food, you probably like spice. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure that you hit that thumbs up and hit subscribe for me. I'd really appreciate it.